Welcome back to the Sim Racing Show, your one-stop shop for all of the news in the world of sim racing. And it's a bumper week. It's a double week for you here. There's going to be so much news. We're going to get straight into it. We're going to start with F124 because there's an update coming that's updating the handling. Yes, I know. Again, and there's going to be a load of new content coming, like a challenge career, race replay, pro challenge events, and the gamepad handling fix. They've also updated the Aston Martin Vantage safety car model, so they're really prioritising the important bits, and they've got new in-game character models for new team principals. Now, I think F124 has really harmed the reputation of the F1 games. I'm just going to say it bluntly how it is. Flip-flopping on the handling is just not a good look, and they need to sort it out because they need to balance what they're doing for the F1 esports and also for all of us normal people who are driving the game. But it's been a mess this year. I feel like the stock is going down, and that's not great for EA taking over the F1 game. Speaking of EA in sim racing, EA Sports WRC has added a very controversial anti-cheat system. So here we go. So just like it couldn't get any worse, they've added a kernel level anti-cheat system, which can be controversial because it grants full access to a user's PC. This has come now in EA Sports WRC. How much competitive WRC is going on, I don't know, but I think it is an official maybe esports game of the WRC. Now EA have tried to say this is not going to be a bad thing, it's only looking for anti-cheat purposes in our games, but a lot of people are raising concern about this, especially with people on older hardware. So that update has come to EA Sports WRC, and again there's been a backlash. So EA having a really bad week in sim racing, and between F124, not a great game, and EA Sports WRC, not a great game. Given sim racing is in such a great state, they've really missed the boat there. We're going to speak about Forza at the moment. We're going to do Forza Horizon 5 just now in this bit of the update. The reason why I've explained before, it is sort of like simulating how cars look. They've added unlockable cars here. We've got Aston Martin Vanquish, we've got Lamborghini Aventador, great car, Volkswagen SP2, Mazda MX-5 RF. RF might be the one that I raced, and I can't remember, and a Volkswagen Thing. And there's a paid for DLC. And again, I say this, like, why are the paid for DLCs coming in stuff like Forza Horizon? Is that where the car manufacturers are going? Why, are we going to see that with the Assetto Corsa EVO and get to do it in more of a pure sim stage? But they've got AutoZam ASZ1, Mitsubishi Montero Evolution, Nissan Stagea, and Toyota Sierra 1991. I don't really know them, but it's a £4 DLC. Now, a new sim racing game here, GT Revival, has changed its name to Project Motorsport. I've told you about this game for years now, months, years, about how stuff is just not adding on. They've changed the publisher, they've changed the engine, and now they've changed the name to Project Motorsport. Remember, this is behind the people that made Project Cars 3, and now it's called Project Motorsport. Great. And it's being published by the people who make Farming Simulator called Giants, but it's not going to be released in 2024. And it's coming using a proprietary physics engine. They've changed all of the engines they're using. There's so much discourse about it online, and I think the hype on this is potentially they're going to try and hype it up. But we've been burned so many times in sim racing that I think we have to be very cynical about this game. And when they say they're going to use their own physics engine, it's called Hadron Physics, like the Hadron Physics Collider or Particle Collider. I don't really know about Project. We'll have to see about it. So CEO Ian Bell of that, by the way, he was responsible for Project Cars and Automobilista 2. But the madness engine in those games is now under the ownership of EA. To come back to EA, so he probably doesn't want to license it from EA. Now, there's a new steering wheel coming. By the way, I've got a new steering wheel here. As I record this is not yet public, so I can only show it from the back. There's a steering wheel that looks very similar to this, which is the Mercedes AMG steering wheel. This is a replica of the F1 steering wheel used by Mercedes AMG, and it looks absolutely incredible. It looks like a proper replica, but are you ready for the price? The price is insane. It's by SimLab, by the way. £2,294. I mean, I like high-end sim racing equipment, but that, for me, I mean, when you compare it to the Fansett McLaren GT3, you can get literally 22 of those for the price of this SimLab Mercedes AMG. So, yeah, letting you know about it. It's a pricey one. Let me know in the comments if you're going to pick it up. But I'd love to know generally what your setups are in the comments. Do an Apple emoji and let me know your sim racing setup in the comments. It'd be really interesting to see. Moving on to Le Mans Ultimate, by the way, doing their first DLC. This is obviously the controversial thing because it's a game still in early access, but now we need to pay for DLC and it's part of the season pass. So the first DLC is coming imminently. In fact, it's probably just released the time this video goes out. It's going to contain a new track, Imola. It's going to contain the Lamborghini hypercar, and it's going to contain the 2024 version of the Peugeot 9X8, which is basically similar to last year with a wing. So, okay, so you're getting a new car and a track. It's going to cost $9.99, which when you compare to iRacing is really reasonable, because iRacing you would pay, what, £13 for the car and $15 for the track? But there's an ethical question here whether it's okay to sell DLC for an early access game, because what if the game doesn't survive? You're going to be left for DLC that doesn't really work. So with Le Mans Ultimate, I just don't know how to feel about it. I want to interview the CEO of Motorsport Games, by the way, for a special for the sim racing show, and let you know kind of what his view is on Le Mans Ultimate going forward. When is it going to come out of early access? Is it going to be one of these perpetual early access games? By the way, I did a video on Le Mans Ultimate where it called like why Le Mans Ultimate annoys you. Well, I went through a lot of the comments under my Le Mans Ultimate videos and I presented them saying this is why the game annoys you and explained them. They're not all reasons that annoy me. For example, I talked about labels. I had so many comments, people saying, oh, I don't like the labels. I don't mind the labels. I quite like to see the drivers I'm racing, especially in a licensed game, because you know, they've got the actual people there you're racing and it's really cool. I've interviewed a lot of them, seen them on TV, so to have that is fine. But interesting to see the reaction to Le Mans Ultimate is very, 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 very polarized. Now, just to go back onto Project Motorsport, I can't remember, is that the name? It's a terrible name. Before we go on to even more news, we'll have to see how it's going to be using this new engine. Is it going to be a great game in VR? Is it going to be resource intensive? We will see. I'll be the first to let you know, and I'll let you know here on the Sim Racing Show. Let's move on to Assetto Corsa EVO, such a fun game and sim to cover on the channel. And we're going to talk about mods because, well, I've said in videos that I think Assetto Corsa EVO is going to struggle by not having mods out of the gate, because the modding community for Assetto Corsa, kind of a little bit out of control, because people are creating mods for this game and they're doing it through patrons. You have to subscribe, pay £5 a month or whatever to have access to the mod. And if you're the developer of Assetto Corsa, you're going to think, hang on, I want that money in my pocket. So for Assetto Corsa EVO, the developers have talked about facilitating some sort of modding, but they want to prevent illegal and poor quality mods. I reckon it's going to be a sort of an integrated mod platform, and as part of that, the AC developer Kunos is probably going to want to keep more of the money, which to me kind of seems fair enough. But will that mean that we just won't see the mod community that we had in Assetto Corsa? And will we have an awkward situation where Assetto Corsa is sort of modded to be better than Assetto Corsa EVO? We will see. We'll keep covering that on the channel. I want to talk about Monster Jam Showdown now, which is a Monster Jam monster truck race game, as you might expect. It's broken cover recently. It's got Unreal Engine 5 graphics, which, you know, maybe not great for like, you know, high speed sim racing, but look really good for this monster truck racing. They're also saying there's going to be 8 months of DLC, so you should know that there's going to be some post-launch support there. It's like a games as a service thing. But monster truck, you know, are we that interested in the sim racing world? I don't know. Let me know. I know a lot of people are interested in truck simulators, but monster trucks might be too far. Now, an interesting thing, I told you it's going to be a bumper edition, by the way. So iRacing is basically becoming a publisher. They partner with Original Fire Games. I know the team at Original Fire Games. I spent a lot of time with them. Really cool people, motorsport background, karting background actually. Developed the really interesting game Circuit Superstars. They've now partnered with iRacing, and they're going to be producing a title called iRacing Arcade. I don't have the inside line on this, just to confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's sort of taking something like Circuit Superstars and maybe having some licensed cars and putting it in sort of the iRacing universe, which could be very, very, very exciting. Really excited to see that. So I told you it's going to be a bumper edition. There's even more news, by the way, but I'm just going to do it in next week's one because I've gone way over. So please make sure you subscribe. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.